Android, you only have what you need. It's like if you need the German keyboard, go get it. It's like the first thing I did was type German keyboard in the App Store. It's the first thing that came up, and it was free. I'm like, that's hard. That's
Well, hey, I've been a Mac user for a long time, and on OS 10, one of the biggest things that I always did was remove all of the other language support, and it would free up disk space. So
yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't think you can actually do that on iOS, can you?
No, I haven't tried. I'm sure there is a way, though.
Okay.
I'm sure there is a way.
Now it's like, and like you're beginning to develop a theme with their things. They're basically complaining that it's like this, like, oh well, this Android device isn't an iPhone. And I'm like, I kind of think that's its strength, but that's me. Their next big complaint.
An iPhone, good lord.
Well, no, that was the thing. Like their next complaint was no central place for updates, which you've used Android. It's like, I thought it had one.
I've never had a problem with getting updates. I mean, I've had an HTC Hero and now the Evo, and they update fine. I go to Sprint and I'm done.
Well, no, you get that notification that there's updates right there at the top, and you just go click.
You can do a manual, like this latest one.
Yeah.
I remember I went to the website and I don't remember what it was. They had a disclaimer on something recently for the Evo, but yeah. They do send the notifications. The same thing with Palm, by the way. Palm will send you the notification, and by the way, you do have a Palm account. It's not a Google account or anything. You don't sync up with anything, but think of it as equivalent to iTunes. It's a Palm-specific account. It backs up all your applications, all your settings and stuff, and then you can do hard resets on the phone, and then actually get another Palm device, and then bring everything down to that other Palm device. So. You have a central place for Android, in my opinion, because I've never had a problem with it.
No, that's my thing. Pretty much all of these have a central place for app updates. Even the little third-party ones nobody's ever heard of that aren't WebOS or Android. As I saw, I think what they were complaining about there is that there's not an iTunes-like app, which I think is what they wanted. And I'm like, well, no, because when I read it, they're like, I go to iTunes and I see all my centralized updates, and I'm like, okay, it does it over the air, not via an app. It's.
I mean, good lord, iTunes, look, is to me a media outlet for Apple in providing what has been a great cash cow for them in music, videos, and books, and you name it. To me, look, I don't need to go to this massive media application to get simple updates for my phone. It's nice that I can do so if it's as an option, but look, when somebody says I want to have an iTunes-like application to do updates, huh? To me, that's my response. I mean,
okay.
An Apple user.
I was wondering if that was just if the Apple mentality was, oh no, we need an app for that. It needs to be an app for it. But we're not getting. It's like we've talked about this. It's not. I've never used the iPhone Twitter apps, but that's their other complaint. And I don't want to say this one is right out false, but I've been happy with the Twitter apps that are on Android.
Yeah.
And they're saying Android doesn't have one. Doesn't have a good Twitter app to compare with the iPhone Twitter apps. Is there like some feature of the iPhone Twitter apps I don't know about? Because I mean, I kind of like the.
I don't know. I mean, look, I don't really use Twitter a lot on any mobile device. I do have some, like I have one on the Palm and a couple on the iPhone. There's a lot of Twitter apps for the iPhone. Yeah. On Android, I don't have one.
There's not as many on Android, but I mean, at the end of the day, you really only need like 2 or 3 good ones, and they do have that. The ones I'm actually using free ones because I didn't want to buy a Twitter app.
Sure.
But the ones I use are either Nano Tweeter or TwitRider. TwitRide. The thing I like about both of those is they integrate seamlessly with the notification thing. So I don't have to launch them. I just I get tweets and I go, okay, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. Clear that, and I can just
Yeah.
And because it's multitasking in the background, I can just click on any one of them and email them to myself to save if I want.
Let me ask you this: what is that? There is a Twitter app that one of my friends has. It's a gadget or widget on their page, and they don't have to officially launch the app. They can just do it from there. And I haven't downloaded that, and I'll have to go ask them. But yeah, they can do like tweets and stuff from their widget.
Oh yeah, from the widget on the desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's a couple of those. That's actually something that's built into Moto Blur, which is the other competitive UI. If you are a big social media, like a 14-year-old kid who's a big I live through the Twitterscope and Friend Finder and yada yada and all this other shit. Moto Blur is perfect for you. If you're an adult like the rest of us, Moto Blur is not so much for you. But Moto Blur integrates all of that stuff into widgets and yada yada and so forth. So if you're obsessed with that stuff, it's great.
And I'll be honest up front. I don't have a Facebook thing.
I do not like Facebook. You know where I stand on that.
I don't even use the YouTube app on any of these things. It's like people love video on phones. You can call me old school or square. I just a phone to me or a smartphone to me is all about productivity. And maybe that's just because I'm coming from a business.
I would use the video on the phone,
reading code, stuff like that. But
yeah, and I would use the YouTube video stuff if they removed all the caps. The problem is everywhere you got mobile YouTube, it's like they have to be really short videos. They can't be silent. I'm like, no. At least give me the 10-minute time limit back. It's like, because until they do that, I have no real interest in it. They have 10 reasons. There's no reason to really go into this one. They say it's another one like the keyboard. They say you can't take screenshots easily. I know that feature's built into iOS, so there's not an app for it. There is an app for it in Android. It's like that's where all these Android screenshots come from. It's like, oh no, people are taking a picture of their Android phone with their camera and then doctoring it in Photoshop and sticking that up. It's like, this is somebody who wanted to bitch.
An Apple fan is also going to say, "Oh, look, we can do movie editing on a phone." Look, from my point of view, I just scratch my head. It's like, is it going to come to that I'm in traffic and I'm looking over to the person next to me? It is in reality of today. Well, are they going to hit me because they're talking on the phone, because they're texting, because they're doing an email? I'm sorry, I was editing a video.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the first report of that, because there's the laws say no texting while driving. They don't say no video editing while driving yet, and I'm sure people will use that as a loophole. I can video edit while driving. I'm a king of the media world. No, but I do see the video editing on a mobile device being good for, like, bloggers who go to events. Like, it would be useful to be at the Consumer Electronics Show and just go and then the guy mistakenly tells you something and he realizes you're taping with your iPhone or your Android device or whatever, and he's like, oh no, that doesn't leave the show. You're like, okay, don't worry, I'll edit it out. It's like, and you can still publish it tonight as opposed to waiting till the end of the week when you have a full computer to edit it with. I see that being useful, but the thing that's been pointed out to me, and I didn't know this because I'm not really in the iOS platform, is that there were already video editing apps for the iPhone platform. They don't do everything that iMovie does, but they also do some things iMovie doesn't.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's like some of them will give you like control of the gains and stuff like you only really get on an Android device, which I didn't know, which is real useful. So I see a combination of two being used. Although while we're on the topic of iMovie, before we move on, and we only got like 30 seconds, so I need like a quick response on this. But iMovie is not available officially for the 3GS, but people have jailbroken their 3GSs and installed iMovie, and apparently it runs fine. So what do you think about Apple artificially forcing you to get an iPhone 4 to use that app?
I can't stand it because it actually, I multitask via like the Palm style when I jailbroke my iPhone 3G with the card style type task switching, and never had any